Good morning, everybody. This is Eureka John with Eureka Street Crypto Hub, broadcasting live from Leander, Texas at 6:49 in the morning, and it is August 11th, 2021. And let's see. This is my video blog, and every single morning, I log on and talk about crypto and anything I may have learned the day before. Some days it's extremely exciting, and other days it's just like pulling teeth. But it is what it is, and that's part of the journey, right? And it's part of a discipline is learning to do the thing that you committed to doing every single day, even if it's not fun. I never regret it afterwards, so that's good. Good morning, Randy. And then having people like Randy jump on as well, that kind of get used to having the morning coffee with some of the same people that jump on. And people have been offering me advice and tips, and some other people have come on and have been interviewed on the show. So that's cool. And I do have a couple more interviews coming up. Next Wednesday, and then the Sunday after that. Not this Sunday, but the Sunday after that. I'm gonna have to do another road show this Sunday, as I'll be in Houston, downtown Houston. So try to broadcast from the hotel room. So let's see, yeah, and I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not shilling anything. Nobody's paying me to do this. Actually, I'm thinking about, because I just, I like this type of stuff. I'm thinking about making some t-shirts and some trucker hats, because I like t-shirts. I have skateboard t-shirts. I don't know where my trucker hat went, but if you see me in other episodes, you see me wear my trucker hat. And, I just thought it'd be cool to have some swag. I'll probably give it away to certain people and stuff like that, and not really sell it, because that's not what this is supposed to be about. I'm not trying to make money on this, and I'm not trying to bum for donations and all that crap. I have a job, and eventually I want to quit that job and do crypto full time, but I want to do it the right way. And I'm not going to be doing it trying to bum for donations or I don't know, man. And like this whole thing too about people promoting their YouTube channels and all their stuff, and and I could have so many more views if I did this or did that, or condensed the show down to 10 minutes at a time, little snippets, and or if I were to push this POAP program and push out these NFTs. I don't really care. I don't want to promote the show. Like it'll grow organically over time, just by itself, if it's meant to. And that's not the point of the show. The point of the show is for me to learn about cryptocurrency, and I can make money in other ways. This is just fun, and that's what I want it to be. So I think that's important to remain true to that type of spirit. Because that's where true organic growth comes from, and where people who actually want to be there will be there. And so I don't know, just my thoughts on it. I am doing some other stuff on the side to make some money. I'm working with the Bankless DAO, and I've done some stuff with some other blockchains in order to be able to just make some kind of tip money and stuff like that for projects. And so anyway, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, let's see here. Bitcoin. And another thing too is I'm not your teacher, so don't take anything I say as gospel. It's just all speculation here, and all a learning process. So Bitcoin, $45,944.63. It's kind of sitting comfy right there. Up 19.6% in the past 7 days. Ethereum, $3,212.54. Up 27.4% in the past 7 days. It's so easy right now to get lost in this FOMO. I'm so glad I'm kind of broke in real money right now, because I would have totally FOMO'd into a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to FOMO in right now. So I have kind of shifted some things around and loosened myself of some of these projects and narrowed my focus a little bit into things that I really want to kind of laser focus on. And so, yeah, yeah, I got my main top four: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Theta. And then I've also kind of taken some of these smaller ERC20 tokens, sold my positions, and moved some stuff onto the Matic network so I can play and learn and experiment over there on some of these layer 2 solutions, because I think that's where a lot of DeFi and a lot of the cryptocurrency people like you and me are going to go onto layer 2 solutions. Arbitrum is still in its early phases and is still being born, but I think it's going to be huge. And Matic is a little more developed right now, but it is a side chain. So that's kind of, the side chains are not as secure, and they're just overall not as good as something like Arbitrum, I believe, is going to be. But as CryptoFu said, Matic is a great training ground. So I'm treating it like that, and I'm learning the ins and outs of a bunch of layer 2 solutions, and I'm doing it. So Randy says, when it's pumping, I stay out. Yeah, that's exactly true. And all this stuff going on right now reminds me of the DeFi summer last July, not this last July, but the last July before that, when they had the whole vampire attack when SushiSwap first came out, and it did the vampire attack, draining all the liquidity out of Uniswap. Then all these food platforms came out. They had Pancake, they had Pickle, they had pasta, pizza, anything. And for some reason, they named them all after food. And there are all these really high APY DeFi platforms. And a lot of people got rug pulled and lost a lot of money, and a lot of people made money. If you were just kind of getting it. But the problem is you would see on Twitter one day, Pickle is in, so everybody would rush over to Pickle. And then, maybe 3 days later, suddenly nobody's in Pickle, and then everybody's over in pizza. And then that would go on for another 3 days. And then suddenly everybody's into pizza. Then you'll just see on Twitter, then everybody's suddenly posting, $ pasta. Then everybody rushing over to pasta. And it's like, you gotta be ahead of that curve, and in order to really make money in that. And that's exactly what is going on right now with NFTs. It started, I think, with the Cryptopunks, and if you aren't familiar with Cryptopunks, let's see here, Cryptopunks, and Cryptopunks is actually, I guess turned into something legitimate, but it's a random image generator that creates this, and they're selling, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. And it's a collection of 24 by 24 8-bit style pixel art images of misfits and eccentrics. There's exactly 10,000 of them. They've been selling on Christie's auction. Okay, fine, whatever, It's demonstrating the whole random image generator algorithm thing with NFTs, and they're rare, and they represent a generation, they represent a technology, they represent a culture, there's scarcity, there's all these types of characteristics about it that makes people want to buy it. So that is basically CryptoPunks, and it has caught on, and I grew up in the 80s. I've seen a lot of fads come and go, and a few of them stuck, but So 3 years ago, two software developers created a quirky art project called Cryptopunks that posed a serious and provocative question: could a few lines of code translate to a feeling of meaningful ownership? It was a crazy idea that would require, in their words, a conceptual leap. 3 years later, that project is rightly regarded as the beginning of today's crypto art movement. Anyway, it began as an experiment. Larva Labs launched Cryptopunks on June 23rd, 2017. There's 10,000 of them. And it's become kind of a little, a flex. It's become a flex to have a CryptoPunk as your avatar on Twitter or whatever else, to show that you're kind of an OG, and people are willing to pay top dollar for that, or they're just money laundering, whatever. But it's insane. And Christie's has been selling these things now that Christie's has got into the NFT world. And then Yeah. Okay. Great. All right. That started. Now they have Stoner Cats, which I've talked about in the past couple episodes. I've talked about Cryptopunks in depth before, so I don't want to go too deep into it. And I've talked about Stoner Cats, another NFT project, and this one has clogged up the Ethereum network. And this is a different alternative. So I would say that this follows along with the NFT trend, but I'll give it some grace about being kind of overvalued and useless. But I'll give it some grace by saying that Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher made this animated series and this idea, but it revolved around drugs, basically around marijuana, and the only people that call it marijuana are cops, but around weed. All right, it started around weed, and a lot of these animation and movie and film and TV show funding companies or whatever, they didn't want to fund it because of its association with weed. And even though it's legal in a lot of states, I don't have any issue with weed. I don't smoke it because I just don't. But if somebody wants to and it's legal in your state, by all means, whatever, that's your deal. It's none of my business. But anyway, they could not get the funding for this animated series because of that, and they figured out, well, how can we fund this then if without compromising the artistic integrity of what we want to do? And I think that's important, regardless of whether or not I'm down with, what they're doing or I care about what they're doing. I think that they should have the freedom to be able to put out whatever kind of content they want, as long as it's not like crazy child porn type of stuff, but like it's just weed. And, so, yeah, as long as it's like legal, okay? And so they found another way to go about it. They created NFTs for their characters. They put out 10,420 of them, so you could buy these NFTs, and they're funding their project through that, and they're funding the story and the route that their project is going to take through the sales of these NFTs to the crowd. And it's taken on a life of its own, and that's a really interesting way that they have used DeFi in a way and crypto to subvert the traditional avenues of finance, and I think that is revolutionary and super important. So that is something that NFTs has brought, and that of course people jumped on it because of the celebrity worship, and it clogged up the Ethereum network. A lot of people who were jumping into the space that don't really know how NFTs work got basically jacked around by the fees, and a total of $780,000 worth of fees have been lost, and that left a bad taste in some people's mouth about the crypto world and MetaMask. And yesterday I talked about Wax.io, which is a cool little gateway to allow people to jump into NFTs without having to set up some kind of MetaMask wallet and then learn that and then learn how Ethereum works and all that. Okay, so then there's that. Now, I'm gonna, after I've explained a lot of that, I'm starting to get into some of the more degen stuff here. All right. So let's take a look at party penguins. I've been seeing this all over Twitter. You got things like party penguins popping up and all of types of other different types of NFTs that are kind of doing the whole, cut and paste, copy the CryptoPunk type of model, and they're coming out with these party penguins, and these party penguins have been selling for 0.02. And right now they have 2,400 holders and 877 ETH in volume. So 877 times 3,214. So let's see here. My calculadora. Let's see. 3,214 times 877. So that's $2,818,678. Just by creating some JPEGs. So that was 19 hours ago. You can buy these things on OpenSea. And let's see here. Party Penguins is a NFT collection of 9,999 unique and flippin' cool penguins. They moved from Antarctica to the Ethereum blockchain because that's where the real party is. The initial sale has sold out. To get your party penguin, visit our official collection on OpenSea. So that's sold out. So now it's left up to the OpenSea And as I mentioned yesterday, the creators of the NFT, the way that the NFT works, they will continue to get royalties each time this sells, a certain percentage of that. So, we do charge a 2.5 commission on OpenSea, and OpenSea charges a 2.5 commission on all sales that go to them. So it adds up to 5% commission in total for each time that NFT is sold on OpenSea. I mean, this is money making. And I talked yesterday about how baseball card manufacturers, they had that one time, that one chance to make the money off the baseball card when it was first made. And then after that, what the aftermarket did with that baseball card and the value of it was out of their hands. Well, no longer with NFTs. So you got party penguins, and you have this food meme-ish type of sentiment happening with all these NFT memes, and people trying to flip NFTs, buy them cheap. And I'll admit, man, I woke up this morning and I was like, maybe I should buy one. I mean, it's like 0.02 ETH, and then I could just go onto OpenSea and sell it for 0.2 ETH or 0.5 ETH, or 1 ETH or whatever, depending on the rarity I get. And then I was like, nah, dude, I can't. I don't want to. I didn't do it during food memes, and didn't do it during food DeFi. I'm not going to do it during NFT memes. And you might call me curmudgeon-y because of that, but I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. Anyway, So then here's another one that I found, and it popped up on my feed last night. And let's see here. It is called Gravel. Gravel. That's literally just Gravel. Gravel is a collection of 2,500 NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. Each NFT is 0.03 in ETH to mint, and you can mint max 30 NFTs at a time. And you can mint Gravel. Literally, just Gravel. Aquarium Gravel has a rarity of 0.4%. White Quartz Gravel, 0.6%. Crushed Stone. And it goes all the way up to Pay Dirt, rarity of 24.52. Yeah, and so for 0.303 ETH, which is about $100 right now, you can mint some Gravel, and you can have that. And let's look at the volume going on here on Etherscan. This is something beautiful. I've been trying to learn some in and outs of Etherscan. People can follow. There's a lot of people that set up bots, and that's how they do whale watching on Etherscan. They follow a bot to track a particular address, and then they look for large transactions to move. Okay, so anyway, it's got some pretty a lot of volume. Look, 30 seconds ago, 4 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 11 minutes ago. All this stuff going on, all these transactions happening in the past hour of people buying Gravel. So. And then here it is on OpenSea. Let's see what Gravel is selling for now that people have bought it for 0.03. And on OpenSea, the floor price right now is 0.15 Ethereum. So if you spent 0.03 minting Gravel, and here it says literally just Gravel. See? Literally just Gravel. So 1.43 ETH is what this Gravel is selling for. And what type of Gravel is that? Let's see. That is the green Gravel, the rarity of 5.12%. So you bought it for 0.03 on the Gravel, and you sell it for 1.43 ETH. So you bought it for $100. And what is 1.43 ETH? So if ETH is at 3214.93 times 1.43. So you sell that you bought it for $100, and you sell it for $4,597. Instant Gravel flipping. I mean, that costs more than Gravel. I was thinking about creating a little gravel trail from the front driveway through the fence on the side of my house to the back entrance to my garage. And that would be a hell of a lot cheaper than buying a Gravel NFT. So, oh man. Yeah, so here's, 1 Ethereum, 10 Ethereum right here. Here's some Gravel selling for 10 Ethereum. This is insane. This is the type of stuff that I'll sit back and grab the popcorn and watch, and just like the food memes. And it's okay. I don't have to be a part of it. I'm taking it slow and easy and dollar cost averaging and doing my own thing, but yeah, live and learn, crash and burn. So I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, last night I did my own sort of degenning, all the stuff that I moved on to layer 2, and I've been playing around with these protocols that Crypto Foo showed me over the weekend. And I did jump into this pool, 1,164.55 max APR, and this other one, 11,405. I put a little bit in there just to see what happens, and so it's actually overnight I've gotten, let's see here, overnight I'd say I've gotten maybe about $50 overnight, which is not bad. I mean, so okay, so I'll take it. I mean, $50 for sleeping. So yeah, so that's just some of the things that can be found here. Some crazy degen stuff on Adamant Finance on the Matic protocol, and you can go over here if you really want to get degen and click here. And this is all the crazy APY stuff. I would highly not recommend this stuff, but it's just it's the house's money that I'm playing with, and I love learning the levers and pulleys. I'm not gonna go put it into NFTs and try to flip that, but I will try to flip some stuff over here. So pick your poison, right? So yeah, but yesterday, on a serious note, I did learn a little bit more about the whole Ted Cruz thing and the Janet Yellen stuff going on. Apparently, Janet Yellen, I remember when she first came to office, and let's see, they described her as dovish with her finances. So let's see what dovish means. I know that there is hawkish, and okay, so dovish monetary policy. Okay. All right, so let's see what is a dove? A dove is an economic policy advisor who promotes monetary policies that usually involve low interest rates. Doves tend to support low interest rates and an expansionary monetary policy because they value indicators like low unemployment over keeping inflation low. If an economist suggests that inflation has a few negative effects or calls for quantitative easing, then they are called a dove or labeled as dovish. Quantitative easing, if you don't know, is just printing money. That's just a fancy word for just going with that money printer. So here's a little video on what a dove is. Let's take a look. All right, so it's got loading an ad. Okay, I don't really want to see the ad, so I'm not. Anyway, key takeaways: doves are perceived as being more interested in spurring job growth through interest rates than they are in controlling inflation. Critics argue that a dovish monetary policy left unchecked could overheat an economy.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Who would have thought?
With Grammarly, you can find really good, perfect words that make your writing sharp, or explicit, or excellent, or distinctive. As a matter of fact, for what it's worth, Grammarly can, that's long. We can get rid of that, and this, good, and this, or how about...
All right, let's see what's up here. What's up, Blamby? Good morning.
Dove is an economic term describing an economic monetary advisor who favors keeping interest rates low because it stimulates the economy. Doves favor low interest rates even though keeping them artificially low for too long may create inflation. Doves believe the benefits of low interest rates outweigh the associated risks. In addition, doves are more likely to prefer quantitative easing as an additional way to stimulate an economy. These types of economists and policymakers are referred to as doves because of the gentle, tame nature of the bird. A dove's opposite, in economic terms, is a hawk. In the United States, dove is usually used for policymakers who are members of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Doves prefer low interest rates and quantitative easing because they believe they increase borrowing demand and encourage consumer spending. In a consumer-based economy like that of the United States, increased borrowing and consumer spending are the two best ways to stimulate economic growth.
Okay, that was a little educational blurb there. Anyway, so Janet Yellen was perceived as dovish, and okay, and I just had to figure out what that was back in the day, when she first started coming on. Anyway, Ted Cruz comes in here, and he's slamming the Senate for his incompetence and understanding and legislating this U.S. cryptocurrency industry. They were trying to basically push through some legislation regulating really hard any type of cryptocurrency platforms and DeFi platforms and anything like that, trying to call everybody in that brokers. And if they can do that, then not good things happen to the industry, and it stifles a lot of innovation in the industry. Well, the thing is Janet Yellen, the dovish policymaker, she shoved in an infrastructure bill that had nothing to do with cryptocurrency. She shoved in all these proposals and restrictions and regulations in the crypto world, just tried to sneak it in there, in an infrastructure bill, thinking nobody would notice, thinking that the crypto industry is just a bunch of kids and a bunch of, a total niche thing. And actually, Janet Yellen knows the threat, and that's why she's trying to sneak it in there, because she just thinks that the Senate will just kind of be like, whatever, and just pass it over, and then just pass this bill through, and just, it'll go through pretty unnoticed. Well, people in crypto pay attention. They pay attention to regulations because, if you're trying to run a platform or an exchange or anything like that, you have to watch out for the SEC. And there are people that are dedicating their entire crypto existence to watching out for this type of thing. So the cool thing about it is they caught it. It's been publicized. Everybody was calling their senators, and now it did end up passing through the Senate, and that's what Ted Cruz was here slamming the Senate for, saying, you don't know anything about this. Name me any senator in here. I'll probably be able to, only 5 senators will probably be able to come up with 2 sentences about what a cryptocurrency is. Yeah, but you're making policies on here to regulate people's livelihoods and people's lives. That's ridiculous. And, we need time to research before we actually pass something like this. Well, Janet Yellen thought she could just shove it through because she sees crypto as a threat silently and quietly. And then suddenly, oh, hey, we have all these regulations. Anyway, either way, the good news is this still has to go through the House. But after all this, there's suddenly all this awareness about cryptocurrency. And suddenly everybody up in Washington is like, wow, this cryptocurrency sector is a big deal. It's not just a bunch of kids in their basement. We actually need to take a lot of this into consideration. And the fact that this infrastructure bill got as much as attention as it did because of cryptocurrency is really starting to tell them something. So... and I said yesterday, I think it's only a matter of time till the light bulb goes on in their head on a lot of these politicians of saying, oh, I can make money from this, can't I? Oh. And then you'll suddenly be seeing a lot of support. And, once they learn how they can fatten their wallets from it, by God, it's going to be crypto crazy up there in Washington. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I just thought I'd talk about that for a second and clarify what Janet Yellen was doing, that she was trying to sneak that in the back door because she understands and she sees crypto as a threat, and it's kind of backfiring on her because even bad press is good press because, now suddenly there's all this awareness about cryptocurrency. So anyway. All right, so something else. I listened to a podcast on Bankless DAO. It's a live podcast, and they were talking about colony.io, and I just wanted to touch on it. I think I'll probably want to get into it deeply at another point, but this is basically organizational systems, and this is something else that you can learn about in crypto is organizational structures. Everything's becoming automated now, and that includes the government and legal systems and decision policies and organizational systems. You learn about psychology and sociology and finance and economics and programming and all types of stuff when you get into the crypto space. You don't just learn about some nerdy internet money. And now organizational psychology and organizational structures and systems and management hierarchies are all now being included in those things that you're going to learn about by being in cryptocurrency. And colony.io covers this organizational structure. And their vision is the rat race can go fork itself. Literally, whenever you create a new blockchain off of another blockchain by altering some of the rules, you create a fork of it. Okay, so a decade ago, it was hard to imagine that today 3 times more children aspire to host a YouTube channel than become a doctor or a nurse. Yeah, that there would be a taxi company employing no drivers worth $82 billion, or software owned by no one printing millions every day to pay people to work for it. The world got weird. Yes, indeed. Ideas about work, occupation, and even companies are changing. But then, to paraphrase a wise man, companies, where we're going, we don't need companies. Things got weird. From firm to fluid. In the past, there were big and complex tasks that required many people working on them. The transaction costs involved to get coordination between people was high, so the concept of a manager was introduced. As the number of managers increased, a manager of the managers was increased and hierarchies formed. This resulted in order, clarity of authority, rank, and power. They reinforced a single primary connection, manager to worker, and enabled a command and control style of leadership that was terrifically successful during the industrial era. Today, technology and connectivity has increased our ability to self-organize, collaborating more easily across internal and external organizational boundaries. It is no longer necessarily true that coordinating through a manager is more effective than people self-organizing. Working as a network allows us to organize with many different kinds of connections and increased autonomy. That's a quote by responsive.org. I looked into responsive.org, and yeah, it seems kind of interesting. I didn't like a couple of the things he's saying about it being a post-vaccine world. I don't necessarily. I'm not down with the jab. So I'm not down with these people assuming that the world is going to be pre and post the jab. I think the concept of all this organizational structure is cool, but I don't like the assumption that it's going to be pre and post jab, because not everybody's down with it, and I don't think everybody should be down with it, but that's just my opinion, man. So anyway, companies that run on software, not documents. Software is good at enforcing rules. That's why video games are so much easier to play than board games. Companies are basically just rules for managing resources and distributing authority. Most companies today define company rules in documents and legal contracts. Financial transactions, even trivial expenses, require admin and intermediaries. Employment is inflexible, roles are rigid, and promotion is opaque. Colony helps you define and enforce business rules. That just makes the rules easier to create and easier to follow with way less admin and in places they couldn't before, like between strangers on the internet. So our long-term ambition is audacious. Colony will catalyze a Cambrian explosion of previously impossible organizational forms. A Cambrian explosion is basically that primordial stew that started the creation of the world into what it is today. The distinctions between companies, platforms, workers, and users will blur, and new paradigms of occupation and income will emerge. In some cases, these will look similar to teams, projects, and companies as we know them today. In others, it might look more like a community than a company, with thousands of people making small independent contributions, like Wikipedia. In others, you may not even think of what you're doing as work. You'll just be using an app you enjoy or playing the game, or it will be just the better you play the game or use this app, the more you earn, and maybe even the more of a say you have in how the app works. So anyway, Colony is inspired by complex adaptive systems like ant colonies, dynamic networks of agents which react and adapt to stimuli from each other in their environment. From simple rules emerge collective behavior and self-organization of the system as a whole. Colony applies these principles to human organizations, affecting simple rules between people to help them self-organize by aligning incentives around a shared goal. So, so basically they're seeing everybody being like worker ants voluntarily. Does that mean we will own nothing and be happy? I don't know, man. I'm sitting here looking through some of this literature and through the responsive.org, and I see the community, and I see some of this documentary material, And they're talking about, whole organizations and ideas and all this great stuff. And then Colony talks about everything being automated and, it's easier to follow rules when it's set in code than to have all these intermediaries and these hierarchies. And that's great. And I am a part of a DAO, the Bankless DAO, and that is great too. I enjoy being a part of that experiment and seeing how it all works. But I notice, on here when they're, talking about the future of work and everything like that, and hold on, hopefully this is not too loud.
At Responsive, we understand that everyone and everything is connected. So what happens when a global event breaks and reforms our connections?
Just when I had established my ability to kind of, what are my boundaries? How many clients will I take on? How do I juggle family and work? The pandemic hit, and all of a sudden, the people leader became the center of this conversation.
So much has changed since we started exploring the future of work in 2016. With our families, in our relationships, at our jobs. Back in May, this was a story about getting used to life during the coronavirus pandemic. Then we were talking about the new normal, about homeschooling, remote work.
I think there was this notion out there that if you work from home and if you're not butts in the chair, then your productivity is not at its peak. That's the silver lining for me in this whole thing. It is really, I think, stifled and silenced all of those naysayers that this is really not a way that we can work. We can, and we have.
Now, we're getting ready for a post-vaccine world. Through all the stories of struggle and resilience, one thing is clear. Through challenging circumstances, we can learn and grow.
I don't know, man. It all sounds pie in the sky and fancy. And when he says post-vaccine world, it makes my skin crawl. So we're going to have to prove, through, our phones and through blockchain, on the blockchain that we have it in order to do anything to function and survive in society. And every single job that they're talking about here, they don't show any single person working in a factory, in a plant, in a manufacturing environment, waiting tables, doing anything that requires manual labor. It's just people working at home and talking about a post-COVID world. What about the rest of us in the world who are running these small businesses? You're going to try to talk to them about some kind of organizational autonomous structure, that's not a top down, and they'll just be looking at you like you're nuts. Like, come on, shut up. I don't care about joining this culture. I just want to come here, do my work, get paid, and go home to my family and put food on the table. That's all they're caring about. And they can't do that because they don't have this damn passport, because they don't really feel like, having this thing being introduced in their body involuntarily to them. That's experimental. So I don't know. That's the issue I have with this type of out of touch corporate, theoretical stuff that people are trying to implement in. And so I'm not saying that something like Colony can't be good and that DAOs aren't good, and that it can eliminate a lot of the oppressive things going on. But when I see stuff like this, it makes my skin crawl, because they don't talk about anybody on the ground. They just talk about some people working from home during a COVID pandemic, and then them complaining about their bosses, saying that they're not being productive enough. So I don't know, man. That's just, a lot of it is probably just feelings, and not based on fact or anything, whatever. And they probably shoot me in the ground and tell me how dumb and ignorant I sound. But it's just kind of the vibe I get from it, and it makes my skin crawl. So thanks, Blaine, but your skin is crawling too about that statement he said about the post-vaccine world. So anyway, so I did hear the guy from Colony talk yesterday on the Bankless DAO, and they were talking about ants. Whenever they're out searching for food, they do all types of jagged paths and leave the pheromones behind, so they can track where they've been and stuff like that. And then once they find food, they take the most direct path back, and they leave the strongest pheromones, because the pheromones dissolve over time. So the pheromones that were left from them taking that jagged path to the food is weakening, and then when they're going straight back home, back to their base, they leave the strongest pheromones, so people coming back after that ant has found the food know the most direct path to that food. And that's how all that works. And that is a cool little analogy on how a lot of these organizations can work by people's successes. People, after the scouts find something, they can report back to the hive and report the quickest way to that success. And that's how things progress in life, is people stand on the shoulders of giants of one another. And I think a lot of that already happens organically and naturally. Anyway, a lot of this stuff is just built in smart contracts and code. And I know I've gone on a tangent and haven't really talked about what Colony is about some of these products. And I want to do that. It's just, I saw some of this stuff and it just brings a lot of this organizational stuff to mind, and how we can go one of two ways with this. We can go dystopian, or we can be inclusive on it. And I'm not talking about just, race and age and culture and whatever. I'm talking about medical discrimination too, that we have a choice to go one way or the other. And it's right now the verdict is out there, and it's getting a little creepy. So all right, man, I gotta get off. I've gone on 41 minutes now. I didn't expect to be going on this last little rant that I have about this, but yeah. Things are getting weird, man. as it said in that thing, things are getting a little weird. So in the about portion. So, all right, I'm probably gonna regret saying a lot of stuff. All right, well, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.